In the Prem, Arsenal are starting to separate themselves from the pack, and the title race is heating up in La Liga.
In Germany, it's like nothing changed over the break at all. And in Italy, the Derby della Madonnina delivers despite only one goal. All of this and more on this episode 102 of the No Business Soccer Podcast News. Kick us off.
Let's dig in. Yes, sir. Welcome back to the No Business Soccer Podcast. I'm your host, Snooze, and we got the full fam here today. Brainiac, J-Fam on, well, I guess he's on the ones and twos. Danny P's here on the ones and twos, too. One of them's on the ones and twos, but of course, everybody, they're here for one guy and one guy only. That is Hype Man Vic. What you sipping on, dog?
Well, I'll tell you what I got today. Today, I wanted to break open this bottle. I've had it for a little bit, but it is a little Eagle Rare, but it's also a store pick. From a store here in Austin, one of the best stores that you can find that is not owned by a big company, but it's Oak Liquor Cabinet. They have great picks, and this is just another Eagle Rare. And I know what you're thinking, Snooze. You're like, don't you have another 10-year Eagle Rare? Didn't you just buy the 12-year Eagle Rare too? I hear you, yeah. Snooze. I hear you barking, big dog, but no. This is, again, the store pick. That means they got to pick which barrel they wanted, and they made these little ones, so a lot of people got it. And, yeah, it's just more well-balanced. There's like a good silky mouthfeel to it. And a little bit more oak, which I appreciate for sure. So while I take a sip of this amazing elixir from Oak Liquor Cabinet, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. It's free. It's the best way to say, hey, YouTube, maybe these guys are pretty cool to listen to every once in a while. So cheers, mates.
Clink.
I don't know if you can hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice clink this time. And it's Monday, which means that it is a European wraparound, or as some of you like to call them, the European reach around. We have a full slate of games in Serie A, Bundesliga, La Liga, and of course in the Prem. We'll cover all of that, all the headlines, the top matches and headlines that go along with each of those leagues. And then we have a little bit of Europa League, a little bit of European competitions to talk about towards the end of the show, which I'm kind of throwing on the producers last minute, but I forgot it's Thanksgiving week here in the States. And of course we have some football on Thanksgiving. We have all the European competitions going up to it. It's going to be a great week, Vic. Plus, I mean, I don't know, most people are not working full weeks. Are you, Vic? You have, what's your work schedule like?
I'm only off on Thanksgiving. Otherwise, I'll be in the office. That's it.
That's right. Internet. That's my boy's international. He's worldwide, so he doesn't get those times off. So, well, we got a lot to cover. So let's jump right in, Vic. Let's go to Italy.
Let's do it then. To Serie A.
See, breaking the fourth wall for a second. I saw your kit and I see the flag behind you, and I was like, wait, is it Austin FC minute for a second? But it's off season right now.
It's off season. There are some things, and I'm working on a short for the actual schedule that dropped. I know people saw the schedule. Maybe, but so you'll see that come soon. We don't have a Austin FC
plug. Little plug right there. Shameless plug.
Yeah. So follow us on TikTok. Follow us on Instagram. That's where we're going to be posting it. And be sure to turn on notifications so you know whenever it comes out. And if you comment first, then I'll buy you a beer. I don't know. So
there you go. Cool. Hey, my boy likes to buy beers for people. So
I do.
He's not lying when he says that. Okay. After that sip, Vic, let's do it. Let's jump in.
Let's do it. Let's jump in to Serie A Matchday 12. And we'll start with the top matches and headlines for Serie A Matchday 12. And it is number one, when the going gets tough, the tough get Americans, as Christian Pulisic is the difference maker, and Milan beat Inter 1-0 in the Derby della Madonnina.
That is right. Inter hate to see Pulisic coming. There's just a battle of quantity versus quality overall. Inter had 64% possession. They had double the amount of shots that Milan took with 16 and had 5 shots on target to Milan's 3. But it all came down to Pulisic's goal and Mannion saving Çalhanoğlu's penalty in the 73rd minute. What a game we had. And that result means that 1 through 5 in the Serie A table are only separated by 3 points. And we'll look at the full table here in a second. But it is shaping up to be a fun second half in Italy, Vic.
Yes, sir. I can't wait to see that table because I know we only have one game on this, and this is it for the top matches. We only have one game, but everything else was kind of like business as usual. And you'll see on the table,
right?
like top is all green or gray, and then the rest is red for sure. So,
I try to put in, some results that are surprising or something like just great matches in which, not to say that like Cagliari in general, which we'll talk about in a second, wasn't a great match, but stuff that has meaning, stuff that has importance to the table. But there just wasn't a lot in Serie A.
So that is your top match from Serie A Match Day 12. Let's go ahead and jump in to the rest of Match Day 12 for Serie A. And it started on Saturday as Cagliari and Genoa trade blows and end with a 3-3 draw.
What a game we had here as well. Both sides trading blow for blow after having to come back from a goal down twice. Cagliari finally took the 3-2 lead, but in the 82nd minute, the Cagliari keeper let a cross bounce in his box, and I guess he assumed that it would be heading out, but instead it bounced over his head and into the net, stunning the home crowd and giving Genoa the 1 point, splitting the points, I guess we'll call it. But either way, I was going to say I'd check his prop bets before you let this one slide, because that was a bit egregious.
Yeah, a whole lot of shadiness going on around.
Yeah.
Definitely got to check that out. Definitely raise a red flag. But let's continue on. And Saturday continued as Bologna continued to be the hottest team in the league with a 3-0 road win over Udinese.
Bologna had 3 points in the bag the moment this match started, and it was 3-0 in the final scoreline, but our boy Riccardo Orsolini missed a penalty in the first half where it would have been 4. It's 3 wins in a row for Bologna as they continue their hot streak.
And our next match had our Fiorentina fight their way all the way to 19th place with a 1-1 draw against Juve.
Oh, yeah, to say it like that. Fiorentina and Juve didn't produce a lot of goals, but the two they did give us were bangers. Since they split the points, it means both sides have drawn in back-to-back games. What I could really see from this match, though, was the fact that Fiorentina aren't far from where they need to be on the pitch. They had a drive. They had some type of desire. You could tell that the guys are ready to start doing it. They just need to start getting these results.
And then Saturday ended with Napoli getting back on the winning track with a 3-1 win over the Italians, Atalanta.
Napoli put it to Atalanta in front of the Naples faithful, and it was 3 first-half goals and the David Neres show before they coasted to 3 points in the second half. The good news for Atalanta was that Scamacca was back and healthy and scoring, which is the most important part. Hopefully he can build off this performance and they can start to get a few more goals, but this one goes to Napoli.
And then Sunday opened up with Parma sending Verona to the bottom of the table with a 2-1 win.
Parma get 3 much-needed points with this win, and it sends Verona back to the bottom of the table. Verona had the momentum and better chances throughout the game, but it did not matter as Parma's winning goal was a gift when a headed back pass intended for Verona's keeper went directly to Parma's Pellegrino, and he chips the keeper to take the lead in all 3 points. Maybe another game you check those gambling prop bets.
Yeah. Check the over-under on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But next we had Roma handling business to stay on top of the table with a 3-1 win over Cremonese.
Roma would have liked to spread the goals out a bit more to make it feel a bit easier, but they get the job done regardless. It was the first time this season that Roma has scored more than 2 goals in a Serie A match. Good times, except the only problem for Roma is that they lose Gasparini to, he was sent off because the next match they have is against Napoli, and they won't have their head manager, coach, whatever you want to call him, because he was talking back to the ref because of dissent, as they call it. And it's not good. Hopefully they won't need him too much. You can get him prepped for the game, but we'll talk about that when it comes.
And our next matchup had our Lazio handling business at home as they beat the Milkmen Lecce 2-0.
It was 2-0 to Lazio, but they outshot Lecce 19-4 and had 8 shots on target to the Milkmen's single shot on target. Not to mention that they might have to replace the goals after how many times Lazio hit the crossbars and hit the posts. That thing was rattling all night. It's a clean sheet and 3 points at home for our Lazio, and we move on.
And then we move on also to Sunday, ending with our top match of the week that we already brought up earlier. And we will continue to move on to Monday Night Football. And it was a double header, but the first match was also your No Business Soccer podcast certified belt to ass match as Como take belt to Torino's ass with a 5-1 win.
Yeah, this match, I haven't got a chance to watch the Monday ones in Serie A yet, but I was looking at a Serie A. I felt like that felt like it came out weird in my mouth. That was Serie A. Anyway, Serie A. But Como, 5 goals. This is crazy. I without looking at it, I can just tell you, I can't remember the last time they scored this many goals in a match. They're usually winning by a goal to nil, maybe 2-1, something like that. But 5-1 is pretty good. In Torino, decent side. They usually not getting blown out like this. But of course, my man crush Nico Paz, he gets on the score sheet on this one too. So can't wait to rewatch it. But Como, man, starting to take off, Vic.
Let's see if they keep it going. And then we wrapped up match day 12 with a fun 2-2 draw between Sassuolo and Pisa that didn't seem to help either team.
No, it's not really helpful whenever you're two newly promoted sides just trying to stay up and then you end up drawing with each other. It's a 6-pointer for a reason, Vic. But 1 point between them. Yeah, hopefully both teams stay up. We'll see. Pisa not looking good for them right now.
No, not yet. But yeah, those are your Serie A match day 12 matchups that we had this past weekend. It was pretty fun. But again, it's a lot just business as usual. If we take a look at the table, you'll see that the only loss that there are in the top 10 or top 10 is Inter, and that's because they played AC Milan. So if you look at right now, number 1 is Roma with 27 points. They are followed by AC Milan getting that win in the Derby della Madonnina. They have 25 points. Napoli is tied with them with 25 points as well in the number 3 spot. And then Inter are behind them, rounding out our top 4 with 24 points. Also with 24 points is Bologna taking over that Europa League spot. They have they're in number 5 spot, and then just right behind them is Como with that impressive 5-1 win. Yeah, in the number 6 spot. Crazy. What sucks for everyone? It sucks for the bottom 3 teams, not for everyone, but in the number 18 spot, you'll find Genoa still working to get double-digit points. They have 8 points in the number 18 spot. Like I said, our Fiorentina are again fighting out of number 20, made it to number 19 with 6 points, and they are only followed by Verona, who also have 6 points, but are in the last spot because of goal differential. And then you'll see from number 1 to number 6, I mean, we're only separated by 6 points, right? That's 2 matches. And things are getting pretty fun. I mean, they've been getting pretty fun for a few weeks now, and this has been one of the most competitive leagues that we follow here. And it's just getting more and more exciting every week.
Yeah, the 2 things that I want to call out, the Golden Boot race for Serie A right now, I think the top is what I can see is 5 goals, and that is a 3-way tie from at least the stat sheet that I have here. Christian Pulisic is there, Çalhanoğlu is there, and so is our boy Nico Paz. 5 goals each for these guys. So not a ton of goal scoring for as far as one single player goes, but yeah, it's going to be fun times. Also, just want to call out Como. They're in that, like you said, the 6th spot, but the teams underneath them are the teams right below them, Juve, Lazio, and then, of course, even Atalanta down towards a little bit towards the bottom. Oh, thank you. Pulling it back up. I don't know if we expect this to stay that way, but holy crap, it would be really cool to see Como in Europe next season. Even like just a conference league. They don't need the Champions League or anything like that. I think they might get dominated like some other teams we've seen, but yeah, I don't know if they can stave off. Is that the word I'm looking for? Stave off, hold off. Juve and Lazio and Atalanta, some of the bigger names, but man, rooting for them, Vic.
Yeah, and Como right now, though, one of the only 3 teams that do not have a loss in the last 6 matches, or what we can see on the table. So they're in form. They're in form there with the Bologna and of course Milan. But they're one of the few teams definitely fighting through it right now. Doing great.
We'll see how it goes towards the second half of the season. Crazy that we're already coming up on the winter break. That is insane. Okay, I think we've said it all, Vic. Ready to move on?
Let's do it.
Let's go to Germany.
Germany? Is that a question?
Yeah,
you're asking me? All right, to Bundesliga.
I was trying something out differently, but it doesn't work out all the time. So it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, there's a lot of matches that I actually was very excited to watch in the Bundesliga this weekend. And I mean, we usually this is the league that we have the most goals. I mean, it's the most free flowing, fun to watch league. Not a lot of defense though. And taking a look at some of the score lines, Vic, that definitely reflects that.
Yeah, sure does. But let's go ahead and get into the match day then. I didn't know. I didn't know if you were keep
No,
going.
no.
I
You're
was like,
good,
yeah.
you're good.
Let's go ahead and get into the matchup, and we'll start with your No Business Soccer podcast. Top matches and headlines for Bundesliga Matchday 11. That's a long sentence. And our top match came between Dortmund and Stuttgart, as both the teams throwing haymakers, but end in a 3-3 draw.
Stuttgart are for real, and that is the main statement from this game, or at least what we're taking from it. Dortmund got out of the gates hot, going up 2-0 in the first half, but it all unraveled for them in the second after Stuttgart cut the lead in half thanks to Undav's ridiculous first goal. Girossi was put through one-on-one with the keeper and buries it, only to be called offside. And only 20 minutes later, that bad man Undav gets his brace and levels the game at 2 goals apiece. But once Kovac brought on Adeyemi, he started running at the Stuttgart backline like they owed him money, and he gets a late goal in the 89th minute. And you thought, surely this would be the winner. But Undav was not finished scoring yet, and he completes his hat trick in stoppage time, and the game ends level 3-3. What a freaking game, Vic. This was awesome, and it was what we needed to see our VfB do it on a big stage.
That's right. And that's why it made your No Business Soccer podcast top match for Bundesliga Matchday 11. It is the other one. There's a lot more of just business as usual, as you will see here shortly as we get into it right now, because it started on Friday. Matchday 11 did. And it opened with Mainz and Hoffenheim getting a goal apiece and a point apiece with a 1-1 draw.
In a week where 2 of the teams above Hoffenheim in the table drop points, they really needed to take all 3 points from a struggling Mainz side. But credit to Mainz for not letting this one get out of hand, staying in there and getting a point in front of their home fans. But Hoffenheim is just a little disappointed in their performance.
Yeah, and then we move to Saturday as Borussia Mönchengladbach keep life miserable for Heidenheim with a 3-0 win.
Double H gets that's how you say that. Double H gets beat up at home by Gladbach, who make it 3 wins in a row and have really started to turn things around. They have 12 points in total this entire season, and they've earned 9 of those 12 in the last 3 matches. So good stuff from Gladbach as they start to climb the table.
Our next matchup was your No Business Soccer podcast top match that we already talked about. So we will move on to your No Business Soccer podcast certified belt to ass match with Freiburg's ass meet Bayern's belt. Bayern getting the 6-2 win at home.
That whole line should just be like every Bayern match in the Bundesliga, pretty much. Well, if you only caught the first 16 minutes of this one, which breaking the fourth wall, we were all eating barbecue on Saturday morning, and I remember looking at this game when I was heading out, like, okay, I need to check the scores, see what's going on, right? Get my bearings, and I saw 2-0, and I was like, oh, okay, Freiburg. But let me finish my notes here, and I'll tell you how exactly that came off, especially when Vic told you there was a little bit of belt to ass going on there. But anyway, if you only watched the first 60 minutes, you probably left thinking that Freiburg were about to pull off the upset of the weekend, but Bayern were level by halftime, and we're up 4-2 halfway through the second half. They are inevitable. Dude with the rings, can't remember his name right now. You love him.
Thanos.
There you go. Thanos. Oh, sorry. Yeah, whatever. Kane barely even got on the ball, and he was able to score a goal. But the man of the match was Michael Olise. That dude is so damn good. He glides around the pitch like he's ice skating, and he's so accurate when he's passing or he's shooting. Very fun to watch. I would say Luis Diaz was one of my favorite players to watch who wasn't Spurs, and Olise now is becoming easily that. I mean, does Harry Kane count still? Because I'm always going to love him. So anyway, Olise, fun to watch. Great player. He's playing amazing for Bayern. Bayern are fun to watch, and I can't wait to see them play their next match. Maybe not in the Bundesliga, but a tough one in the Champions League. How about that?
Not bad. And you said rings. I almost said Sonic whenever you're talking about. I should have said Sonic.
You should have, because I'd be like, no, he was blue. So Thanos blue? Rings. I said the blue guy.
No, he's purple.
Okay, whatever. Let's
go. This is I doubt anybody that watches Marvel is watching this European soccer podcast. But we're going to offend them. We'll keep going. Our next matchup was a battle of the Bergs as Augsburg proves its supremacy over Hamburg 1-0.
This game was so weird. Both teams had shot after shot on target, but by on target, I mean directly at the keeper. Even the goal should have been saved. The one goal that was actually converted, it should have been saved as it was hit right at the keeper, but the pace on it carried it past his arms as he was diving for it. Either way, it's a good 3 points for Augsburg as they stop their 3-game losing streak with a win. But man, all the action and only one goal. If you see the highlights, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
And then Saturday continued with never losing Leverkusen going on the road and getting a 3-1 win against Wolfsburg.
Leverkusen make it back-to-back wins in the Bundesliga and are back to their silky, smooth passing selves again. Wolfsburg might be the worst team in the Bundesliga, but St. Pauli, Mainz, and Double H are giving them a run for their money for that title.
And we concluded Saturday with a high-scoring affair as Frankfurt get the 4-3 win over Cologne, my cute little mascot.
So close, yet so far for Vic's little goats that could. Eintracht went up 4-1 before Cologne came storming back late in the game to make the end result respectable with a 3-4 finish. But the goats?
Goats?
The goals really were in garbage time, as we call it here in the States. And Frankfurt takes 3 points with them on the 1-hour train ride back home to Frankfurt.
And then we move to Sunday as RB Leipzig continue to pace behind the leaders with a 2-0 win over Werder Bremen.
Well, the Leipzig fans had to wait until the 63rd minute to see a goal, but holy shit, it was worth it. Hassan Cuadrado scored a golazo from outside the box. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Probably the cleanest striked ball this weekend, and they get an insurance goal in the 80th minute to see it out and to make sure they stay in second.
And we ended match day 11 with Union Berlin going on the road and picking up the 1-0 win over St. Pauli.
And there's only one way to describe St. Pauli's season, but the shit Sunday is starting to pile up for St. Pauli as they rack up their 7th Bundesliga loss in a row. Crazy thing is they're still not in the bottom 2, Vic, but Union get kudos for staying on them, and their goal came from relentless pressure in the St. Pauli box, and the first half goal was enough to get it done, to see this one out. But yeah, man, St. Pauli, the Bundesliga bottom teams are so bad this season that they can lose 7 straight and still not be the worst team in the Bundesliga.
St. Pauli is lucky they started as good as they did. But those are your matches for Bundesliga match day 11, which is crazy. Since we're talking about not being in the bottom, let's go ahead and bring up the table, although the top looks very familiar. As you have Bayern Munich, of course, with the number 1 spot with 31 points, 6 points clear of number 2, RB Leipzig. RB Leipzig at 25 points. They are followed by never losing Leverkusen, who have 23 points in the number 3 spot. And then Borussia Dortmund round out our top 4 with 22 points. And then tickling our top 4 is our Stuttgart. VfB Stuttgart. They also have 22 points, of course, behind Borussia Dortmund on goal differential. And then let's talk about the bottom of the table. As right now, we'll start at the very bottom as Heidenheim are in the basement. They have 5 points in the number 18 spot. Above them is Mainz, also in the relegation zone with 6 points. And then there's St. Pauli. Again, losers of 7 straight, still in the number 16 spot in that playoff that still will allow them to play in Bundesliga despite the form they've been in. But that's the bottom of your table. Fun fact here, though, number 4 through number 7, all just 2 points. So all those European spots are up for grabs right now. I think RB Leipzig are kind of not really pulling away, but they're the clear number 2 right now, and it'll be a little bit easier to catch Borussia Dortmund, all them to get all that into the European spots.
Yeah, I'm looking at the table to see the promoted sides, Cologne and Hamburg. I'm looking at, what are we at, 14 and 10, so not too shabby. I don't want to see Mainz go down, but that's some pretty bad teams towards the bottom of that table right there.
Yeah, not looking good.
Okay, I think we've said it all for the Bundesliga. Vic, let's move on. Let's go. I'm just gonna say it normal. Okay, let's go to Spain.
Let's do it to La Liga. Smooth. I burped while we were at that transition. You guys you're welcome. You're welcome. I did it.
I was gonna say, do you think we paused or something? Like, why did you just say it like that? No, we didn't.
I was telling the audience.
I just want to let you know. Okay, well, I have a note here, but I don't know why I didn't just put it in the match. So I think I'm gonna scrap that. I'm just gonna read it whenever it gets to that match, Vic. So let's jump in.
Well, I have a quick note.
Okay.
You know how many red cards there were? Our teams with red cards
in La Liga.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we have 20 teams, let's say 4 of them had red cards.
6. There were 6 teams with
Oh,
red cards.
I was close. I was close.
I just, whenever I was doing the results and everything, I just saw all the reds. I was like, oh my god.
God,
I was trying to
angry people in Spain.
Yeah, I was trying to find the most like red cards per team, like for each, the most teams with a red card in a match day, but all I got were like most red cards overall, and I was like,
overall, like total.
I tried to figure it out for you guys, but that 6 is a lot. That's still a lot. So,
yeah,
but
I mean, nearly half the league.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. But let's go ahead and move on. I guess we'll talk about that note when it comes up. But let's go ahead and dive into La Liga Matchday 13, and we will start with your top matches and headlines. Your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines, and starting with Elche getting a hard-fought 2-2 draw against Real Madrid.
Real Madrid were stymied by the mighty Elche, who played a hell of a game at home. They were in Real Madrid's face all game, and it was actually Elche's goals that were more smooth and free-flowing, while Madrid had to claw back and score 2 late scrappy goals to salvage a point. Elche haven't won in a while, but this draw will definitely feel like a win in their eyes. But Real Madrid have now drawn back-to-back games against Elche and Rayo. Not troubling times yet, but their gap between themselves and Barca is basically gone now.
And then number 2, speaking of Barca, Barcelona with a statement made as they beat Athletic Club 4-0.
Yeah, well, that went about as well as it could have for the grand reopening of the Camp Nou. Camp Nou? We're still not sure on that one. Yeah. Lewandowski still scoring and looking young. Ferran Torres with the brace. Fermin Lopez chips in one as well. And of course, Yamal gets an assist. It was just perfection from the Barcelona perspective. The cherry on top is that they are now 1 point from Real Madrid at the top of the table. For Athletic Club, though, man, it just feels like the blueprint for how to frustrate this Hansi Flick Barca team is out there. We've seen it plenty of teams that are less talented than this Athletic Club side have frustrated them and taken a point at least. But time after time again, Barca's front men were running free at the Athletic Club backline and with space. Just not a good look for the dudes in Bilbao. But Vic, this is making for a very close title race.
Yes, sir. And those are your top matches and headlines for La Liga Match Day 13. We had 2 that time. We're getting more interesting.
Hey, here we go.
And yeah, we'll go ahead and jump into the rest of the Match Day 13. And it started on Friday as Valencia crawl out of the relegation zone and gently place Levante into it with a 1-0 win.
It was the first Valencia derby of the season, and even with Levante sitting in the bottom 3, Valencia hadn't won any of the previous 5 games, so it wasn't like it was a lock for them to get points here. But it all came down to a beautiful overhead goal from Hugo Doro going into the 80th minute, but it wasn't quite a bicycle kick. You know, like bicycle kick, I feel like has to be like a specific, like, throwing your leg back, going all the way. It wasn't like that, but it was very clean, very nice finish. Great goal either way. Valencia gets back on track. First win in a while, or first win I can remember in a while anyways. Valencia have been struggling this season.
And then we moved on to Saturday as Celta Vigo get back on track with a 1-0 win against Alaves.
Remember when Celta were one of the last teams in La Liga to get a win? Well, now they've won 3 of their last 4. This road victory over Alaves, and not a ton of action in it. But Celta legend buries a penalty to give his side the win, and that is Iago Aspas. This team is just starting to get. I want to say they're getting points from matches I didn't expect. Alaves, maybe not that big of a deal. But either way, Celta just starting to look better. Starting to feel like they're a team that is going to be in the European places. Why was that so hard for me to get out? like trying to say like words. Yeah, right? I know. I don't know what's happening.
But Saturday continued with your No Business Soccer podcast top matchup we spoke about earlier, which was Barcelona and Athletic Club. So we will move on to Real Sociedad, continue their impressive run of form with a 3-1 win against Osasuna.
Osasuna get an early goal to take the lead at home, but that was all they got as Real Sociedad stormed back to take 3 points with them back to San Sebastian. And this Sociedad team looked very good, like the best I've seen them look all season. Nothing like the team that was in the bottom 3 of the table not too long ago. They're mid-table now, and if they keep this up, they'll be back in those European places in no time. And if they play like they did this past weekend, they might be one of the better teams to finish out the season.
And next we had Villarreal making it 4 wins in a row with a 2-1 win against Mallorca.
Villarreal and Mallorca both scored in the first 10 minutes of this match, and I thought we were in for way more goals, but it wasn't until Villarreal's winner in the 83rd minute that we got another goal. But with the other results at the top of the table, 3 points was a must for the Yellow Submarine, as they are now just 3 points off Real Madrid at the top of the table and 2 points from Barca in second.
And then we moved to Sunday, and it started with the lackluster 0-0 draw between Oviedo and Real Vallecano.
The match ends 0-0. Not much to discuss other than 40-year-old Santi Cazorla hitting the post on a free kick from 35 yards out. It was so close to being a goal of the season contender, but it was just a couple inches short of going in.
And then Sunday continued with the draws, and it continued as Real Betis. I read that like Jerome Bettis just now. Continued as Real Betis and Girona split the points with a 1-1 draw.
It was good vibes all around for Betis, as we mentioned, or as I didn't mention, because I'm going to mention it right now. Hello, checking in with this news and notes from around the league. But in Betis, it was good vibes all around at the beginning of the match, because in Betis, pre-game, or I guess going into the match with Girona, they had a tifo of Isco announcing to the fans that they have extended his contract until 2028. Really cool gesture, and not sure I've seen that before, that a club does that type of reveal to the fans. But yeah, really cool stuff there. And it was even better when I go back to my notes here, because the fact that they extended Isco until 2028, but he was also back in the lineup for the first time this season since fracturing his fibula back in August. Fibula. He got an assist from a corner, but they couldn't find the winning goal against Girona and dropped points at home. And this is the worst part. Antony was sent off late in the game, which means that he'll miss the derby with Sevilla next weekend. And it means that Betis have now only won once in the last 5 La Liga games. Not good, but they had some good vibes pregame, and they still got a point. It's not like they lost this match. But if you see whenever Antony got sent off, he was trying to do a bicycle kick and full force kicked some dude in the face, because the guy went to go head the ball and is like ball replaced by head and smack. But I mean, honestly, how is that his fault? He's just trying to shoot. Maybe it's dangerous, yes, but you only call it dangerous because other people's heads don't get in the way most of the time. That's not his fault. Yeah. Maybe I'm biased.
No, I agree with you. But next we had Atletico Madrid going on the road and escaping with all 3 points with a 1-0 win against Getafe.
Atleti almost did that thing where they drop points to teams that they shouldn't, but the breakthrough comes from an own goal in the 82nd minute to make it 5 straight wins in La Liga. Only other note from this match was a shout out to Raspadori. He was one of the best parts of the team. He was one of the best parts to watch of the title-winning Napoli side last season, and he has had flashes for Atleti, but he finally broke out in this game. He was everywhere in this match, and it was his cross that led to the own goal. And Raspadori, I mean, the dude has some sharp-looking hair, little Italian guy, so much fun to watch. I'm glad he's doing it because he's a lot of fun to watch for Napoli, now fun to watch for Atleti.
And then Sunday ended with our other No Business Soccer podcast top match of the week, which was Elche and Real Madrid. So let's go on to Monday Night Football as Espanyol keep their name amongst some of the best with a 2-1 win against Sevilla.
Yeah, and I got to watch a bit of this one today. And Espanyol deservedly getting the win. There was a little bit of back and forth at the end from Sevilla. They didn't like some of the refereeing decisions. But overall, Espanyol keeping up their pace and doing something that we didn't really see happening at the beginning of the season, staying right up there in the thick of the European competition race. We won't say that that's done and dusted yet. So a lot of games to go. And there's a lot of good teams in La Liga this season. But Sevilla dropping points. It's going to be a good, fun game between them and Betis next weekend.
Yes, sir. And those are your matches for La Liga match day 13. Let's go ahead and take a look at the table because we did bring up Espanyol as being as up there kind of with the best. Not the best, but right now, as we know, the best is Real Madrid. They have 32 points, although their lead is dwindling a little bit as Barcelona are right behind them with 31 points in the number 2 spot. Villarreal are in the number 3 spot with 29 points, and then Atletico Madrid round out our top 4 with 28 points. The number 5 spot belongs to Real Betis, who have 21 points, tied with Espanyol with 21 points, who are in the number 6 spot, but they have the Europa League spot and then that Conference League spot in the number 5 and 6 places. And that's Espanyol that we just talked about. They're finding their way up there, trying to get more into the European leagues competition, trying to get a Europa League spot, maybe even sneak into the Champions League. We will find out. But Three teams that won't even mutter the words Champions League this year is Girona, number 18. They had the number 18 spot. They have 11 points. One of the first teams to be eliminated if the season ended today. They are followed by Levante, the newly promoted Levante, with 9 points. And then another newly promoted team is Real Oviedo, who also have 9 points. They are in the 19th and 20th spot, respectively. Unfortunate for them, we were doing so good with these newly promoted teams not being in that relegation zone. Yes,
and we had one through all the leagues, right? It was like all great. The leagues. There's just one, and nope. Now it's starting to be more.
Now they're slipping back into their ways. What do you want to call out here?
What I want to call out is the gap between the have and the have-nots, in the top echelons of La Liga. Because if you see the gap, the gap's no longer there really between Real Madrid and really Atletico Madrid. Was that you said 4 points? But now 5th and 6th, that is a 7-point gap between 4th, 5th, and 5th, meaning the teams that are going to be fighting for Europa League and Conference League, they're going to be there's going to be a big difference between that and the Champions League this season. But it's pretty cool because you see if it really is a 4-horse race, as some people call it, they are definitely starting to look that way. Like these are the 4 best teams in La Liga: Real Madrid, Barcelona, Villarreal, and Atleti. But I don't know. It just caught me by surprise looking at the table after this match day, because I felt like Real Madrid and Barcelona were so far ahead that that was it, like it usually is. But no, that's not the case, Vic.
Yeah, I think we brought up Villarreal sneaking up there still and being in that conversation, and nobody's really talking about them. Obviously you have Real Madrid that were setting themselves apart for a little bit, but yeah, we did bring up Villarreal a couple weeks ago talking about that, and then now Atletico Madrid are up there as well. They're only just 1 point behind them.
Let me check their schedule, because there was a game that I remember being like, okay, this is the big reason. Like if they win this, if they have a result here, it'll tell us a lot about that team. What was that game though? Let's see. Betis. Oh, it was Real Madrid, and they got beat 3-1. That's what it was back in the beginning of October. And then and then it was 2-2 with Real Betis. Anyway, Villarreal. Yeah, every time I think they're going to be great, they end up kind of not pooping the bed, being all nice, less cussing. But they end up disappointing a little bit. But yeah, they don't have a lot of tough games coming up. So Villarreal could be up there, could be getting it.
They still haven't gone away, so
let's do it. The Yellow Submarine. Anything else on this league? I think we're good.
This is good whiskey. That's it.
Okay, let's do it then. Let's go on to our final league, and that resides in England.
Let's do it to the Prem.
Not the part that I wanted to talk about when we're ending our day. Should have just got this one over with. This one first. Tough talk about other stuff. So let's get it over with, Vic.
All right, let's go ahead and do it, and we will go to Premier League Match Day 12, starting, of course, with your No Business Soccer podcast, top matches and headlines for Premier League Match Day 12. And we start with number 1, pain, go away, come again some other day, as Liverpool continue their downward spiral, getting manhandled by the lowly Nottingham Forest 3-0.
And if you watch our shorts as well, this is the second time that we have to say this stuff. So
yes,
not fun. Liverpool drop points again, and it's their old foes, Nottingham Forest. Forest, who have not been the same club they were last season. They get 3 goals, 3 points, and a clean sheet, and this was all at Anfield. Just insane stuff. I thought once Liverpool beat you were talking about Villarreal, Aston Villa and Real Madrid, they were back on track. They've lost the 2 games following those results to City and now Forest by a combined 6 goals against and 0 scored.
And then we move on to number 2, as Newcastle helping out the rest of the league with a 2-1 surprise win against Manchester City.
Harvey Barnes take a bow. His brace leads Newcastle past City in a game that they really needed to get something from. City had been in terrific form coming in as well as and yet they just could not get the job done at St. James's Park. After the match, Pep was getting into it with the ref and Bruno Guimaraes. And you like how I said that? Guimaraes. And that's how you know that the Magpies were partying. That stadium was going insane. Also a bucket list place, St. James's Park.
And number 3, Arsenal continued to exert their dominance over the league and make it look easy with a 4-1 win over Tottenham.
Every time I think of Newcastle, I think of that girl, like, probably Birmingham. But then, like, at the end, she's like, up the tune. Anyway, all right, let's play the clip. It was the worst case scenario for Spurs. They played a boring defensive game and they lost heavily to their rivals still. It was never close, and the cherry on top was the man that Spurs desperately wanted, the man that they tried to get only for him to snub Spurs and then go to Arsenal. Yes, that would be Eze. He scored a hat trick. 1 goal, that would have been bad, Vic, but he gets a hat trick. And from that dude in this game is downright embarrassing. Arsenal had one of the lowest goal scoring rates from open play, but were getting by with their superior dead ball and corner goals. They were scoring from dead ball situations, and that's kind of what was leading them to just get over the hump because they weren't scoring from free-flowing football, as we'd say. But they get 4 goals from open play here, because of course they would, against a team that was set up to be defensive. Makes zero sense to me. Thomas Frank has a ton of work and explaining to do after a result because that was embarrassing, Vic.
And those were your Premier League Matchday 12 top matches and headlines, or for your boy Snooze and Hype Man Vic, bottom matches, because that sucked for us to get that out.
Like bottom matches.
Yeah, terrible matches. But let's go ahead and get into the rest of match day 12. And it started with Chelsea taking advantage of the Man City loss, moving to second in the league with a 2-0 win against Burnley.
Pretty standard stuff here. A goal in the first half, a goal in the second, clean sheet, win away from home. Good day if you're Chelsea, bad day if you're Burnley.
And then our next match was a No Business Soccer Podcast top match we spoke about earlier, which was Liverpool-Nottingham Forest. We are done with that. Let's go ahead and move on to Bournemouth and West Ham, splitting the points with a 2-2 draw.
Bournemouth drawing at home to one of the worst teams in the Prem isn't ideal, but it was pouring rain and they were down 2-0 in the first half thanks to the revenge brace from their old boy Callum Wilson. But an 81st minute, burp came out of nowhere, but an 81st minute leveler from Enes Unal, who had only been on the pitch for less than a minute, splits the points.
And then our match day continued with Crystal Palace entering the European competition places with a 2-0 win against Wolverhampton.
Palace pour on the misery for Wolves as they give them their 5th straight loss in the Prem. Wolves are almost assuredly going down, but Palace are starting to climb the table and aiming a bit higher than their usual mid-table finish. We might be able to see them in Europe again soon. We'll see. They're in there this time, but because they won the FA Cup. But let's say they get in there because they're just good enough in the table. It's looking like it, Vic. Looking likely.
We'll see. Next, we had Brighton winning their mid-table matchup against Brentford 2-1.
Brighton take down Brentford late and had to do it the hard way, coming back from a goal down. But they take all 3 points on a rainy night in Brighton. Also, Danny Welbeck is playing out of his mind right now. Could he possibly get back into that England squad? We will see, but he is balling out.
And our next match had Fulham picking up another win, 1-0, and against a formidable Sunderland side.
Raul Jimenez, his late goal was the difference in this one for Fulham, who absolutely needed this win. It's tough for Sunderland as they couldn't build on that awesome Arsenal draw, but they aren't the same team away from the Stadium of Light as they are in the Stadium of Light, as we saw with all that, the craziness and the chaos surrounding that Arsenal win. And you take them out of that stadium, and they look pretty normal.
And then Saturday, I don't know why I said it like that. Saturday ended with one of your No Business Soccer Podcast top matchups that we broke down earlier. And that was Newcastle versus Man City. So we will move on to Sunday as Aston Villa kept the ball rolling with a 2-1 win against Leeds.
A second half brace from Morgan Rogers completed the comeback for Villa after they went down early at Ellen Road. And with that win, Aston Villa is now in the top 4 and cruising, while Leeds dropped to the relegation zone.
And then Sunday ended with your third and last No Business Soccer Podcast top matchup of the week that we already mentioned, which was Arsenal and Spurs. So let's move on to Monday Night Football. And it was a weird one as an imploding Everton side get the 1-0 win against Manchester United.
I like how you just talk shit about Everton to Daniel. Short Buzz not going to say anything.
That was
but
weird.
Anyway,
So,
it was weird. It was, to be fair, it was weird. Everton hold on to win despite their own players getting into it, and Idrissa Gueye getting sent off within the first 15 minutes of the match for bitch slapping his own teammate. But it's all water under the bridge when you get a W. I mean, what else matters? The win on the road. I mean, come on, that is crazy. Whenever I saw that they had a red card that early, I was like, damn, that sucks. But when they said it was for hitting his own teammate, I mean, we were trying to look at it before. It said in some of the headlines that it was like a back pass or whatever from Gueye that didn't get to where it needed to go. But Danny P says it's not his fault that it was I think it was Keane, right?
Keane,
That's who it was.
Keane, yeah.
Yes, it was his fault.
It looked like he gave up on it a little bit. So that's why they were mad. That's what
I'd slap a B too, just like, hey, don't let us down like that. And I'm just kidding. I would never do that. I'm a team player. Because if that, I mean, I would be fighting Victor all the time,
You could be getting your ass whooped every time.
Yes. Sorry. But yeah, that was a crazy game. I don't know if I've ever seen that, Vic. I've ever seen a player get sent off for fighting his own teammate.
Yeah, it was a violent conduct, which was which doesn't have to be against an opponent. It could be against your own team. They put up the laws of the
as it's happening.
Yeah, they put it up there. And I was like, oh, it does say teammate. So tough. Look, either way, they won, which is crazy.
Yeah,
that's why it's an imploding side. What? Those are your Premier League match day 12 matchups. Was an interesting week around the league this past weekend. So let's go ahead and look at the table. And it pains me to say it, but Arsenal are starting to just peel away from the rest of the table, the rest of the league, as they have 29 points in the number 1 spot. They are 6 points clear of Chelsea, who are in the number 2 spot. They have 23 points. And then Manchester City are in the 3rd spot with 22 points off that loss. And then Aston Villa, can't believe Aston Villa is up there in the number 4 spot now with 21 points, rounding out our top 4. And then tickling our top 4 is Crystal Palace, taking up the Europa League spot, number 5. And there's a lot to talk about. We'll go back into the little mid-table here because it's pretty incredible. But let's talk about the bottom of the table real quick. As Leeds United are in the number 18 spot. They have 11 points, followed by Burnley, which are 2 teams that were just promoted, now back in the relegation zone.
It's happening again, man.
They fall back to their ways. They're in the 19th spot, Burnley is. But nobody is going to beat Wolverhampton, who still have 2 measly points, 2 draws on the season, 12 games into it. And I can't think of another team that we cover that looks as bad as them. I think it's obvious, actually. I think the next lowest is like 7 points maybe. But they're holding up the rest of the table, a solid foundation for the Premier League. And let's just go ahead and talk about real quick what I wanted to bring up, and what you're probably going to bring up too, Snooze, is that from number 3, Manchester City, 22 points, 4 points separates them and Liverpool at 12. A complete 10 spots are just separated by 4 points, which is incredible. And then another quick little fun fact. So we all support a team here, right? I obviously support the Reds, Liverpool. Snooze supports Tottenham. Our boy Danny P supports Everton. And then our boy Fam, he doesn't really have a team, but he did support Manchester United. All of them have 18 points right now, which is pretty crazy. So none of us can talk shit about each other right now, even though
that's crazy. I didn't even see that.
Even though some of us had higher expectations, maybe they can talk a little bit of shit about us. But we're all sitting at 18 points.
Listen,
pretty crazy.
My team was 17th and barely stayed in. Your team won. Okay, so there's a big difference here.
But we're the same, right? Yeah.
We're the same.
Also, my boy Ryan. Ryan, if you're watching, he's also a Man U fan. So I talked a little shit to him earlier. But we all have 18 points right now. We're all tied. Pretty crazy.
That's I didn't see how compact it is, but that's crazy. Like essentially in 2 match days, this could be completely flipped from 12 to 3 or whatever you said.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's it's gonna be fun. And the festive period, there's always like game after game, right? We have a bunch of midweek madness stuff coming up, so we could see this changing before long. So
it's gonna be fun to watch.
Okay. Well, I think we'll cover real quick some European competitions and get out of here. So let's do it. Let's go to the European competitions. I said European, not UEFA. That was
There you go.
That was my
That's
bad.
what the delay was.
Yeah, that's
Like,
my bad. So let's talk about it. I thought everybody were talking some trash right now. I know, I can feel it. I can't read it though. So anyway, let's talk about the matches that are happening this weekend. We'll start with the Conference League because these are the less games that we cover as far as the teams in it, and this will be match day 4. And actually, happy Thanksgiving if you're going to be watching this and you're an American. But we do have some games going on starting at 11:45. The teams that we cover, though, let's cover them briefly. That is Crystal Palace taking on Strasbourg, and that is on at 2:00 on Thursday. Thanksgiving is going to be fun for Crystal Palace fans in the States anyways. Strasbourg, not a bad team from Ligue 1 as well. We also get Fiorentina versus AEK Athens. And any other, do we cover? Oh, yeah, Mainz. I forgot about this team. I forget that they're still a team we cover because they are almost relegated right now, but they're taking on a team. Vic, what is that team called? Universitate something crazy. We'll call them UC. I don't know their name, but UC. And the last team that we cover, of course, Rayo Vallecano taking on Slovan Bratislava, and hopefully we get to see some good wins for the teams that we will be watching regularly around the European leagues that we cover. Okay, moving on to the Europa League, a little bit more teams that you might be familiar with in here, and this is for match day 5 of the Europa League. Aston Villa taking on Vic's favorite Young Boys. We also have Ferencváros versus Fenerbahce. Freiburg taking on Pilsen, Victoria Pilsen. Celta Vigo, Ludogorets. Roma versus Midtjylland. We also have Bologna taking on RB Salzburg. And then let's see. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Eagles, your other team that we need to find a kit for. Taking on your VfB Stuttgart, though. So not fun for you. Who are you going to go for? Anyone else? Am I missing anything else? Oh, yes. Nottingham Forest taking on Malmo. And Real Betis taking on Utrecht. Not a lot of fun games you're too excited to watch for in these ones. Maybe Bologna versus Salzburg. That should be fun because Salzburg is a little bit better than some of these other teams in here. But either way, you expect some 3 points coming for the rest of these teams. But let's get into it. Let's close out the week by talking about what is coming up on the Champions League slate. And this starts by the time you're watching this today, which is Tuesday, and also going into Wednesday. This is match day 5 for the Champions League. And we have Ajax versus Benfica. These are the 11:45 games on Tuesday or today. If you're watching, Galatasaray versus Union Saint-Gilloise. And then the 2:00 games kick off. And it's Bodo Glimt versus Juve, Napoli, Karabakh, Marseille, and Newcastle. I want to say that Marseille and Newcastle might be the Marseille of England. I think that might be fair to say. I don't know. Probably not. You tell me in the comments. Dortmund versus Villarreal, which should be a fun one. Both teams love to get after it. Chelsea taking on Barcelona. Man City versus Leverkusen. And the number 2s. Oh, like in the leagues.
Yeah.
Okay,
Chelsea and Barcelona. 2 number 2s.
I don't expect Chelsea to be number 2, so that's kind of like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
number 2?
Yeah, hard to say
they are there, though. So, yes, Chelsea and Barcelona, Man City and Leverkusen. And then the final game for Tuesday is our Slavia Praha taking on Athletic Club. And that one is, I believe that's in Prague. So, our old stomping grounds, Vic.
Ooh, yeah, we've been there.
Yeah, a lot of juicy ones on this Tuesday slate. But let's do it. Closing out with the Wednesday slate. Paphos taking on Monaco. That's 11:45 on Wednesday. The other Wednesday game is Copenhagen taking on Kairat. So, not the biggest games at 11:45, but there's some juicy ones in the 2:00 window where we see Olympiacos taking on Real Madrid, Sporting taking on Club Brugge. Eintracht Frankfurt versus Atalanta, 2 teams that we like to cover. Always love to see that when you get 2 of the teams you cover a lot because you know a bit more about them, what's going on, their backstories, and how they are coming into this match. Looking at it, you would think that Eintracht Frankfurt could take on Atalanta and get a win here because they've been much better in their domestic form. But Atalanta, they a tough team to beat. in Europe, anywhere really. That will be fun. We'll be watching that one. Liverpool taking on PSV, which is guaranteed 3 points for Liverpool. Atletico Madrid taking on Inter. That one's going to be a fun one. Two of the top teams in their respective leagues. Two of the teams we cover right there. It's going to be fun. The next three actually going to be, next two, not three. Arsenal.
Yeah, not three.
Arsenal taking on Bayern, which that one is the game of the week for Champions League or any of the games really. You have the top team from Bundesliga taking on the top team in the Prem. And not only are they the top teams, but probably just looking at them outside of PSG, who we'll talk about in a second, the two best teams, or I guess best three in the world right now. So that is be a fun one. 2:00. That is 2:00 on Wednesday. And the final one to close it out, PSG versus Tottenham Hotspur. That is 2:00 on Wednesday as well. That one might be 8-0, something like that. We'll find out. But that is the matches that we're looking forward to on the Champions League slate, the Conference League, and the Europa League. Vic, what are you looking forward to most outside of Arsenal Bayern? What's the other match you're looking forward to?
I don't know, dude, because it's hard to say because I might watch that over Liverpool the way they've been playing. But, I think I'm also pretty interested in that Slavia Praha and Athletic Club game. I think we pull a win out there for Slavia Praha.
Athletic Club haven't been great. They haven't been great.
But Slavia Praha is like, I've seen them pop up so much on my Instagram, like on their different, just like, and I think I've sent you a couple of things, just different headlines from them, things they're doing on their in their stadium and everything. It looks freaking awesome. So
one of the best atmospheres that we've been to live. It was amazing. So I can imagine it's going to be awesome there. Well, I'm looking forward. The top two for me, outside of obviously the main one, Arsenal, Bayern, Dortmund and Villarreal. That one should be a lot of fun. And then why not Atleti and Inter? We'll see. We should see some pretty good goals there as well. Looking forward to the slate. And this weekend we have some bangers coming up too. It's Thanksgiving. We're going to be eating a lot. Vic, before we get out of here, what's your go-to pie and dish of the Thanksgiving season?
I like a little bit of everything. I like mashed potatoes with dressing, with turkey, of course, and just getting a whole. No, I want a spoonful of all of them, not just one thing.
All right,
one spoonful of all of them. But I am going to smoke another turkey, so that's my favorite, smoking a turkey.
Hey, okay.
And then the pie, of course, pumpkin pie. You can't beat it for this time of year. Pumpkin pie, whipped cream, 100%.
Pumpkin pie, I think I prefer that because you can eat a lot of it and it doesn't get like overly sweet. You have one slice of pecan pie and it's like, oh man, it's just like, it's too sweet.
I know what you're saying, but I put an obscene amount of whipped cream on my pecan pie. So. That's why, because it's not sweet enough. I don't know.
And I might be weird because I don't like whipped cream on my pumpkin pie. I like the taste of the pumpkin. Is that weird? Like I just want to taste the pumpkin, the seasoning in that, the spice.
Yeah. It's weird.
Oh yeah, it's weird.
Like pumpkin spice.
No, all right, it's not. No need to dive into that. And I would say stuffing for me, Vic. I can't. It's not Thanksgiving if I'm not eating my grandma's stuffing. That's my favorite part. But I don't know if I'm getting that this year. It's kind of sad, I would say the turkey, but I know I'm not getting it, so I don't want to. Because my dad, he deep fries a turkey with like Cajun rub spices and jalapeno and butter injected. Oh, it's amazing. But he's not doing it, so I don't want to think about it. So. All right, we're an hour into this. So DJ, play our music. Vic, take us home.
All right, everyone. Thank you for talking about some European football with your boys here at the No Business Soccer Podcast. Be sure to follow us on all of the social medias. Everything is at No Business Soccer Podcast, except for TikTok, except for Twitter, because those names are way too damn long. That is at No Biz Soc Pod. Everyone, enjoy the football that we have coming up. Enjoy Thanksgiving, and we will talk to you all very soon.
Happy Thanksgiving.